Gotham Knights did not receive a warm welcome on its release, and you know what happens if a hype game doesn't do well. But when this game was first announced, I wanted to play it because it looked fun. I didn't buy it because I bought PS Plus at the time, and I told myself I'll wait for this game to go on sale, then I'll scoop it. But here we are, a year later, and a PS Plus edition later, I think it's a good time to get the platinum for Gotham Knights. So if you don't know the main premise of this game, that's a little surprising, not gonna lie, but basically we play in an alternate Gotham where Batman dies and has to be defended by the four Knights, which are Batgirl, Nightwing, Robin, and my favorite character, and the one I mainly use for this playthrough, Red Hood. So the steps I followed to complete this game was to first complete the main story, do the case files for the other villains in the game, which were the Harley Quinn, Mr. Freeze, and Clayface case file, finish all collectibles in this game, complete other side activities, do combat trophies, and farm 250 crimes, and the crimes were the white spots that spawn in the map, as well as the premeditated crimes that we get for interrogating goons, and this trophy kind of took a long time and it was really grindy, and get level 40 by doing New Game Plus. Also, before I continue, this will have spoilers, so yeah, there's a warning, but I feel like this game's been out for so long, you probably already know what happens. We begin by playing the first of the 8 case files in this game. I'm just gonna fast forward the story because of spoilers, but in my opinion, the story in this game was pretty good. I didn't know if it was good as the Arkham games, but I did think the story was interesting. There were some parts of the story that drove me mad, like this walkway part of the chapter 3 or 4, I'm not really sure which chapter it was, but it was difficult to get through. Like, who's even an architect or something like this? Like, this is how you know if someone has too much free times on their hand, because this part just made no sense. Like, who coded this? Like, why was this even put in the game? But after that, there weren't any other annoying parts of the story. So during my playthrough of the story, I get some miscellaneous trophies, with the first one being first step into the night for unlocking the ability for the first time, reaching knighthood with Red Hood. I then successfully stopped all premeditated crimes in a single night, and I want to make sure I got this trophy done as soon as possible so I didn't have to worry about it later.
You'll be fine.
Unlocking all knighthood abilities. Unlocking all 4 momentum bars as Red Hood, which we get for reaching level 20. Completing 50 challenges. Acquiring 50 mod chips via fusion, and I'm not gonna lie, I just used random mod chips together. I didn't really understand the whole purpose of this. After finishing the main story for this game, I focused on the 3 villain cases I had to do, and the first villain case I finished was the Harley Quinn case, in which we got 3 trophies for this case file because there were about 3 or 4 chapters in this file, but the first one we get for discovering Harley's plan of mind control or something. I was kinda lost in this one.
This looks promising.
Then we had to stop her presentation of the dangerous substance, in which we had to fight enemies and disable bombs. And then we get our final trophy for the Harley Quinn case file after we defeat her in the fight. I then did the villain case on Clayface, in which were about 3 or 4 chapters and 3 trophies tied to this file, with the first trophy we get for collecting clay samples and learning about Clayface's existence in Gotham even though he's supposed to be dead.
That looks like enough. Belfry, I got a pile of that clay for us to run tests on.
We then fight Clayface, but then he escapes. And then our last trophy comes from defeating him one last time. I then finished the last villain case, which was stopping Mr. Freeze from freezing the city, because what else would he be doing? And we actually get 4 trophies instead of 3 tied to this case file because he was just more important, as we get our first trophy for discovering Mr. Freeze's planet Star Labs. We then go to Quartz Labs to find a disruptor to stop Mr. Freeze. We then fight Mr. Freeze and disable his snowstorm device thing. And we find it one more time in prison and finally complete all villain cases. I then moved on to finishing all collectibles in this game, and they weren't that bad as it took about an hour or less to do, and there's 4 collectibles to focus on, which were collecting 60 batarangs,
Finally found it.
finding 42 Historia pages,
Looks like this is it.
locating 12 street art,
Got it.
and visiting 40 landmarks. After doing collectibles, I then worked on completing all side activities, and again, these are really simple to do, and these included finding 12 hidden audio recordings, and for some reason, before Batman died, he just wanted to hide audio recordings. Uploading 5 secret alibis to protect Bruce Wayne's identity, and this had us sneak around to upload the data to a terminal.
Okay, Belfry. I planted the files on the server.
Completing 7 bat cycle time trials, and these were pretty easy to do and took about 2 minutes for each.
Oh yeah.
And then the final activity I had to complete was doing 16 training exercises, which was the basic tutorial for some of the combat effects in this game.
Good, but don't get complacent.
So speaking of combat, the next set of trophies I got was the combat trophies, which consisted of us defeating certain enemy types a specific amount of time. As I get some during the story playthrough, but I'm just gonna group them all here because I think it's just easier to follow. And the first one I complete is by defeating 45 regulator shockers, defeating 45 League of Shadow Assassins and 30 Rocketeers, defeating 30 regular drone masters, defeating 10 man-bats, and these are the hardest enemies to defeat in this game, but for my skill gameplay and putting the game on easy, I was able to do it. Defeating 30 freak bulldozers, defeating 40 feral talons, 25 gladiator talons, and 15 hunter talons. These enemies were probably the hardest to do this trophy for, as they don't spawn too often and you also encounter them late in the game, but after doing premeditated crimes that involved the Court of Owls, I was able to get it. And the final one was to defeat 30 mob godmothers. The last 3 trophies I have to do are to complete 250 crimes, play as all 4 heroes, and reach the maximum level in this game, which included playing a New Game Plus and playing about halfway through the story. Before I start a New Game Plus, I tried to complete the 250 crimes, and this was definitely a grind, but if you just do the small white crimes that show up on the map while you do collectibles and other tasks, you'll get them when you least expect it. As when I got this trophy, I thought I wasn't close to 250 at all. Apparently I was, and I'm not going to complain about that. After the 250 crimes, I finally moved on to my New Game Plus playthrough and reached level 40, which is the max level for this game. I just did story missions and some side missions to quickly level up, and about 3-ish hours later, I finally hit that maximum level.
Contains exactly what we need.
And with all that done, my last trophy is to play as all the heroes, which you can just change characters at the belfry, which pops the last trophy, and I finally get my first open quote Batman close quote platinum. That Gotham Knights was a pretty good game. Is the story and gameplay better than the Arkham games? Probably not for most people, but the Arkham games are really top tier and they aren't really easy to top. I thought the story was good in my opinion. I thought the 3 cases for the villains were really good because side missions in games aren't really that good and it's usually just repetitive stuff, but the cases that involved Harley Quinn and Clayface and Mr. Freeze were really good. Didn't feel rushed. I'm also going to buy the Arkham games and platinum those because I really want to get some more Batman plats, but I heard they are really hard games to platinum. Let me know which of the Arkham games are your favorite from the trilogy, and that's all I got. I saved Gotham, which has to be one of the worst places to live. Like, my god, people gotta start asking why Batman has time to play batarangs and secret audio recordings around the city. Like, where does this man get this time? But if you guys like this video, subscribe, do the basic stuff. I got vids at platinum at the end, and yeah.